Produced food accounts for only about 1% of the retail food industry in Canada, but Corey O'Kelly looked at 2 local businesses hoping to change that.
Here in Ingleside, south of Ottawa, Marcel Moisey is heading off to the greenhouse to check on his favorite crop and his herd of veal cattle.
It is a greenhouse that actually produces meat.
For 9 years now, he's been experimenting with hydroponics, barley grass, and the heat produced by cows. And he's come up with a process that can take the angst out of eating meat.
This remarkable process is totally interdependent. The cattle here provide the heat to help germinate the barley seed and the methane gas that helps it grow. They're then fed the barley grass, and the cycle continues.
Here's what makes it work: barley grain. It's first soaked in water to soften the shells. Then Marcel and his wife Nori sew it on these huge plastic shelves.
We're spreading the barley grains about 3/4 of an inch thick in order to make the harvest mechanization to facilitate it better. And after it's sown, you just let the electronic clock do all the work.
That turns on the water sprinklers several times an hour. The plants are flooded with nutrients like nitrogen and potassium. In less than 20 hours, the barley explodes with tiny shoots.
Then on day 2, the barley grass is just starting to come up. And on day 3, it's a lot thicker yet, and it looks more like a carpet. And then on day 4, it's much, much thicker, and it's lush.
The barley takes the carbon gases from the air and quickly develops a luxurious, thick growth. It's aided by the warmth from the cows, which keeps temperatures inside the greenhouse at around 20 degrees Celsius, even on the coldest winter days.
We'll roughly sow about 70 pounds of grain, and within several days, we'll harvest nearly 500 pounds after 7 days of production.
Well, this must be very dense, eh?
It grows very dense, and the protein is boosted to nearly twice, from a roughage feed to a high energy feed. It crosses this threshold.
And they eat the roots and everything?
They eat the root, the stalk, and the stem. If we would wait 8 or 9 days, we'd harvest maybe 100 pounds more, but the protein starts to drop in it. So we found that a 6-inch height after 7 days is where the animals tend to benefit the most from it.
And it's the nutrients in barley grass that excites Marcel. The veal calves are fed milk for the first 8 weeks, then are switched over to the barley grass diet and record rapid growth, adding almost 2 kilograms of weight a day.
Or whatever a calf would consume in milk, we can replace it with about 35 pounds of these grasses. And 35 pounds of these grasses would cost you maybe 25 cents to produce. In comparison to a 5-gallon pail of milk, they're outrageous, the cost differences.
The cattle are checked regularly by a veterinarian, but because they're eating healthy food, they stay healthy. There are no antibiotics used here.
A lot of these diseases stems from their diet. Hopefully that some attention could be drawn, you know, to an organic form of food that could potentially reverse symptoms, you know, like what we're incurring now.
Marcel is publishing a book on his work this summer in hopes other farmers will consider organic beef production as a way of life.
For a farmer to produce all year round high-energy grasses, it is virtually impossible for him not to profit from it. We're hoping that farmers will adapt the culture, consider the culture.
Marcel's unique experiments have cost him every penny he's ever had, but he's convinced that his work and people's desire to have safe food sources are about to dovetail. This fall, he'll begin selling organic veal at Ottawa's Byward Market.